Another day at Wimbledon and another day when more seeds are going out. This time it is the British hopeful Jack Draper getting knocked out by Marin Cilic in round 2. We've had Tommy Paul exiting the tournament, Thomas Machac as well. It's getting a little bit ridiculous now, but there's one thing you can rely on, isn't it? Novak Djokovic, Jannik Sinner, they're winning fairly comfortably. Well, where do we start on this episode? There's no JG on this one, so I will take you through some of the stories of the day, and I can't wait to hear what everybody has to say about day 4, because it brings more surprises yet again. And I did say on yesterday's podcast, is it going to be Jack Draper going out next? It was a horrible draw, really. Marin Cilic, somebody who's been to the final of Wimbledon before and somebody who's come into Wimbledon after winning a grass court event as well. It was only a challenger, but still, that is good form. It doesn't matter how you get the wins or where you get the wins. It's just that you're playing a lot of tennis on grass. And he just looks in phenomenal form today. I thought it was like the Cilic of old turned up on the court, and really it was just one of those performances where I didn't even really notice the age gap between the two of them. If anything, I would say the better ball striking was definitely done by Marin Cilic. He seemed to have his way with Jack Draper on the court today. And it was a very, very busy work day. And I tried to catch as much of the match as possible. And I tried to go back and watch as much of the match as possible. But it seemed clear to me that Jack Draper, either it was the pressure getting to him, either it was just the fact that Cilic is just so relentless when he gets in this type of form on the grass. But I just felt like he was going to lose this match. Maybe it was just the fact when you get someone like a Marin Cilic and you see how effortlessly he's able to stroke a forehand into the corners and how well he serves, even from like defensive positions, like down break points or just down in a service game, he gets so many free points off of his forehand and his serve that you have to hold your serve. Jack Draper, I don't think I'm being disrespectful in any way. I just don't think that he was on the level today. And he would be the first to admit it. He said it in his post-match press conference. He just admits Marin Cilic was the better player out there on court today. And there's nothing more to it. Jack Draper probably be disappointed in his second serve stats. Only won 46% of his second serves. But Cilic, 16 aces, 6 double faults. Draper, 14 aces, no double faults. But the winners to unforced errors, this is just where it jumps off the page. Marin Cilic hit 53 winners in today's match to Draper's 29. And I thought it was quite evident that the how flat Marin Cilic hits the ball, it's just so effective on this style of court. And no wonder he's got to the final before. It just suits him down to the ground, the grass courts. Jack Draper has even come out and admitted he didn't really feel good on grass this year, which is a bit worrying, obviously, when it is your home slam. And it is the slam that we sort of thought he would do best in. Obviously, you need a good draw. This is a terrible draw for Jack Draper. Maybe he needed a little bit longer. Maybe if it had been somebody else and he was able to build into the tournament a bit more, he may have done better. But you have to be beating somebody like a Cilic if you want to win Wimbledon anyway. And he was unable to do so. Wasn't even able to force a fifth set either, which was credit to Cilic, to be honest. He was relentless in that fourth set. Wouldn't let up on Draper's serve. And as soon as he got the break, I think, like Bublik said it best, I think it was earlier on in the grass court swing, just once the serve's broken, yeah, it's pretty much, that's the set gone. And it felt a little bit like that. But I think we've got to celebrate Marin Cilic. He's still doing the damn thing, and he's never given up. He's 36 years old. He's number 83 in the world coming in, and he's just beaten the number 4 seed. I think it's his first ever win against a top 5 seed in his career at a slam. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I've seen that on a tweet going around. But yeah, this has been his last few years. So 2023, knee surgery. 2024, another knee surgery. And now 2025, first slam round 3 since 2022. 38th career top 10 win and second of 2025. 36 years young. He's still got it. He definitely does still have it. What they say, the power's the last thing to go, don't they? And he definitely has that in abundance. And we've seen many players with similar styles to him do well on grass courts. I think he has like the perfect blend, which is he's tall, but not too tall. And his serve is absolute cracker. And he has some very, very powerful, hard hitting flat ground shots. And if you've got that and you play at a very high level and your consistency is good, very, very difficult to beat. And yeah, I think he's just got to be proud of himself. He had his children there in the crowd today, which was just lovely to see. Like, obviously, things change. Obviously, since like earlier in his career, he was then just playing probably more for himself. Now he's a family man. So great to see Marin Cilic out there on the court and winning matches again, because he is a Grand Slam champion as well. You got to remember, he did win the US Open. Obviously, it was a long time ago. It was back in 2014, which is weird because it's the only time I've ever been to New York. And that I remember it well because it was Nishikori versus Marin Cilic in that final. Marin Cilic won it. Yeah, pretty crazy that, but it always sticks in my mind, that one. This is what Draper had to say in the post-match press conference. Obviously, he was very devastated by the loss, but he has such admiration for what Andy's achieved at Wimbledon, saying it makes me think that Andy's achievement of winning here twice, it's just unbelievable. It's not the pressure. I just lost to a better player. Yeah, he did. I don't think it was the pressure because he showed in that third set, he came out, played pretty well. I think Cilic's level dropped a little bit. The crowd were getting into it as well, and he was able to get that 6-1. But as soon as Cilic came back with a bang, Jack didn't really have any answers. Maybe he needs to learn to hit it a little bit flatter and not so much topspin. I don't think that was doing him any favors. It was just sort of prolonging the rallies, and the longer it went on, you just were waiting for Cilic to uncork one of those big forehand winners. This is what Jack went on to say. He said, I mean, it makes me think that Andy's achievement, what he did, winning here twice, is unbelievable because it's not the pressure. It's not the whatever. I just didn't play good enough today. I lost to the better player. I wasn't going out there thinking I'm under so much pressure. I don't know. You guys mention it all the time, but it's just that I wasn't good enough today. That's the main reason. I wasn't able to find the level I wanted. I came up short. I like this honest opinion from a young tennis player, not delusional, not finding excuses as well. That's the last thing I want to see from somebody after they've come off court, is trying to say, oh, my knee was hurting a little bit. Oh, my stomach hurt. Oh, I was thinking about something else. I left the iron on or whatever. He just is brutally honest. This is a very, very positive sign for me, for Jack Draper, just admitting when you're beaten by someone better on the day and knowing there is a need for improvement. And I think Gil sort of sums it up best. I've lost count of how many times I've said that on this podcast. He probably loves hearing me say it. He says, Draper has done nothing but steadily improve for the last 3 years. Impossible for me to get negative on somebody like that. Is his big match nerve management there yet? No. But we didn't. But didn't we all know that coming into this? Oh, but didn't we all know that coming into the season? Yeah, pretty much. Needs more experience under heavy pressure. Definitely. And this will be a learning curve for him. I think it's when you take these defeats, it's how you bounce back. And if he bounces back from this one, and obviously the next slam's the US Open. He had a brilliant US Open last year. If he's able to learn from this next year at Wimbledon, maybe he'll have better preparation coming in. Maybe he'll feel better at Queen's. Maybe we'll get a better performance. But chin up, Jack. Don't worry about it. There's plenty of your career left and plenty of slams left to go for the big trophies. And I'm sure there will be a slam with your name on it at some point in the near future. Well, where do we move after that? Obviously, that's a big seed going out. That's the number 4 seed in the men's draw disappearing. We've already had the number 3 seed go out in Sasha Zverev. And right now, on men's and women's, 36 seeds have been eliminated. That is crazy to think that we're only on day 4 of Wimbledon and 36 seeds have already gone out. I didn't see this coming. Obviously, we expect some shocks early in Wimbledon. It's happened a lot in the past. We've seen the likes of Rafa, Roger get knocked out early in Wimbledon. But to see 36 seeds go out and the only players really left in that are giving you any confidence are the big guns. But it means we're getting to see some quite incredible stories as well. And I'm going to continue with the men's for now. But this story of this kid, well, I say this kid, it's not that young. He's 27 years old. And I know we're in July, but August, Holmgren, yes, August has come early, I think, at Wimbledon. And he's defeated Thomas Machac. And Thomas Machac, another seed who goes tumbling out. And he's now saved multiple match points for the second time this Wimbledon. He did it against Watanuki in the final round of qualifying. And now he's just saved match points against Thomas Machac as well. And the crazy thing is, when he saved those match points in the 4th set, and he went on, won the set. He got one match. He won it on his first match point in the in the final 5th set. But look at, for those of you who can't look and you're just listening, the scoreline is just ridiculous. 7-6, 6-7, 6-7, 7-5, 7-6. It could only be one more game to be the longest possible, really, isn't it? That 7-5 in there snuck in there a little bit, but he did have to save match points in that one as well. Yeah, this was just a brilliant story. He obviously had to come through the qualifying, Holmgren. He is Danish and flying the flag now. No Holger Rune. He got knocked out by Nicholas Jarry. And I think there was another player, Moller, as well. He's obviously gone out too. But he came through the qualifying. He beat Hussey. He beat Kukushkin and Watanuki. Now he's just beaten Konton Alice in the first round. And now a 5-setter yet again. And this one against Thomas Machac, who's a very, very good player. So he's just got to be proud of himself. But the thing about this that I loved so much was just the fact that his celebration was one of the best celebrations I think I've ever seen at Wimbledon. It was heartwarming. It was just so emotional. It was so real. It was just so nice to see somebody who you can just see it just means the world to this 27-year-old guy. I've never really seen a reaction really like it at Wimbledon, especially in the early rounds. I think that's just, you can tell how like the struggles that he's probably been through. He went round the crowd. He was high-fiving everybody. He went, found his father, hugged, they embraced with tears. He threw his racket in the air at first as well. And he's the world number 192. Had never won a slam match before this week. From qualifying, reaching his first round 3 at a slam. And then after that, he hugged everybody, high-fived everybody. Then he went back on court again and he was celebrating more again. Just ultimate joy. I loved it. And the more that we can see of people appreciating the fact they're in this privileged position to do the sport that they love. They've been grinding and crafting their way to get to this spot, and to see how much it means to somebody like August Holmgren. It was beautiful. Absolutely loved watching this. There's a lot of tweets coming out about him as well, saying he wins from losing positions at Wimbledon so far. In the qualifying, he was 4-6, 1-3 down against Hussey. He was 4-6, 1-3 down against Kukushkin. Then he was 6-4, 6-7, 3-6, 6-all, and 3 match points down against Watanuki. And then he was down 5-4, love 40 against Thomas Machac. And then he goes on to win that match as well. Yeah, he was 0-1 on grass before Wimbledon and 1-7 in the last 8 matches. Lost for words, really. You can only imagine what's going through his mind right now. He must be living in a dreamland. Think how much money that is for him. He's probably earned himself like 100,000, maybe more. It's just so much money. Considering how much money he just lost 7 out of the last 8 matches at I'd say very lower level events. He's probably been playing on challenger events. I think he got 1 win in the French Open qualifying. But other than that, he's been going out first round in a lot of challenger events. I don't know how much money you get for that. Can't be a lot. Maybe a few €100. And now look at him. Anyway, I'm not going to go on too much more about Holmgren, but tell me what you think about it in the comments section, because I think when we do have people like this go through, it's all well and good to speak about the big boys and the big girls and all the top seeds. But this is what a slam is all about, and especially at Wimbledon as well, when you get to see somebody living their dream and knocking out a seed, we've got to celebrate them. We've got to talk about them. Well done, August Holmgren. And we're going to move on to another upset next, and an upset from somebody, and I never saw it coming. And we've met this guy. We played tennis with this guy. It is the Austrian Sebastian Ofner. He's taken out Tommy Paul. I think this is even bigger win than Holmgren's. Obviously, Holmgren has come in from 192 in the world, never playing a slam. We know that Ofner, well, ever since he met GTL, go check out the video, us playing against Ofner. I'll pop a link in the description. Quite entertaining, that one. It is on a clay court, and he does embarrass us. But all good fun. He's normally known as good on the clay. I didn't even think he was that good on the grass. But boy, has he proven me wrong. And so happy. What a nice guy Sebastian Ofner is. A true gentleman. And to beat someone like Tommy Paul, obviously Tommy Paul, last year's Queen's Club champion. I think this is just a huge victory for him. He lost the first set as well and came back and won in 4. This one, obviously, people are going to say this isn't as much of a shock. Obviously, they've known of Ofner for the last year or two. But like Damien Kuss says, Ofner back in Wimbledon round 3 for the first time since his breakthrough run in 2017. I keep saying it, but before the heel issues last year, he had surgery on both feet. He looks like he wouldn't last in the top 100. Now he's back and better than ever. Biggest win of his career versus the number 13 seed, Tommy Paul. Yes, brilliant. Love it. Well done, Sebastian Ofner. always cheering you on, no matter which tournament you're in. Once you've met a player, once you've played on a tennis court with them, I feel that you can't help but will them to win. And whenever we see him playing, we are always cheering him on. So well done, Sebastian Ofner. I'm excited for him. I'm glad that he's back, and it wasn't just a short stay at the top of the game. Obviously, he broke into the top 50 after we'd met him, which was fantastic for him. But now, maybe he can be back on the ascent. He's facing Grigor Dimitrov next, and then who knows? Could be Jannik Sinner in round 4. But Dimitrov is a very, very tough match. Dimitrov got past Mutet, which is not an easy match earlier on today. Let's get on to some of the big boys now, because, yeah, we've been speaking about some of these people who are big upsets. And now we look at the likes of someone like Jannik Sinner. And now I was just thinking, we're watching all these struggling seeds. Look at them all falling out. And then we see Jannik Sinner, 6-1, 6-1, 6-3. It finally became a little bit of a match in the third set. Dominant straight sets win from Jannik Sinner. Quite scary, really. Obviously, level of opposition. Vukic, I still think Vukic is a pretty good player, especially at slams, but nowhere near the level of Jannik Sinner. And the scores in his first 2 matches this week, 6-love, 6-3, 6-4, 6-1, 6-1, 6-3. So not even going close to a tie-break yet. Not dropped a set. 21 wins, 3 losses this year. 5 consecutive Wimbledon third rounds. The mighty Fox at it again. Yeah, he just looked calm on the court as well. Nothing seems to faze him right now, Jannik Sinner. And maybe the only thing that will be able to faze him is if he gets all the way to maybe a semi-final against Djokovic. That's what we're all hoping for. Come on, tell me if you're not. I would love to know if you aren't hoping for that. I mean, you are mad if you aren't. And Jannik Sinner is now 5th among men born 1990 or later with the most Grand Slam career wins. That's pretty impressive to be 5th. And there you go. And it says surpassed Dominic Thiem, who had 75. Jannik Sinner is now on 76. Daniel Medvedev with 89. Milos Raonic with 92. We've got Grigor Dimitrov, 97. And Alexander Zverev with 101. Wow. There you go. That's men born 1990 or later. I'm sure at some point he's going to overtake all of them. I don't think anybody can deny that. Right. So more Italian news as well. One of the other matches I actually did get to catch a little bit of because it was one of the first on was Flavio Cobolli. Brilliant performance. Somebody we should probably keep a closer eye on, to be honest. Flavio Cobolli has been having a good year on the tour. And this match against Pennington Jones sort of defined on the second set. He went to a tie break. That was the only chance for Pennington Jones, but he was the second British Jack, or the first British Jack to go out. Jack Draper was the second one. I thought it was just a very, very confident performance. The commentary team saying he's probably one of the fastest, if not the fastest player on tour. I think around the court, him, Alcaraz, Dimonor, pretty close, but his ball striking ability is brilliant. And the only players to make it to round 3 on the men's without dropping a set are him and Jannik Sinner. So the Italians doing very, very well yet again. And Flavio Cobolli, his next matchup is against Jakub Mensik, who knocked out Marcus Giron. That would be a really entertaining match. I'm not even sure which way that will go. I think the favourite will be Mensik, but Cobolli, the form he's in, I wouldn't rule it out. Well, we've been talking about Jannik Sinner and who would like to see him in a semi-final against him. We've been talking about how dominant Jannik Sinner was today, but somebody else who was pretty dominant in his match as well was Novak Djokovic. Yes, come on. Finally, we're seeing the real Novak Djokovic. He played Dan Evans and he took him out in pretty impressive fashion. It was, you're just starting to see the wheels turning for Djokovic. Started the first set and Dan Evans just had to stay in his service games. He was saving break points. He was trying his best just to keep the wolf from the door. But Djokovic huffed and puffed, and he blew down Dan Evans' house like it was. I think the first house in the first set was made of stone. The second house in the second set was made of sticks. And the third house in the final set was definitely made of paper because it was a bagel and it blew everywhere. It was pretty impressive. And the longer it went on, the better Novak Djokovic got. He just looked so confident out there on court. He's sounding like he's really enjoying himself out there. He said he's playing some of his best tennis right now. And Dan Evans even said it. He just said, just don't really get much time on court when you're playing Novak. He's everywhere all the time and always just firing balls into the corners. Difficult. And Dan Evans being asked the question, is this his last Wimbledon? Like, when? It's tough to say, really. He's sort of on a little bit of a comeback, so I think give the guy a break, let him just absorb the loss, and he's a good grass court player, Dan Evans, so he'll be back. I fully believe he'll still play Wimbledon next year. But Djokovic, this is what he said after beating Dan Evans. He said, I don't reflect fully on everything I've been through. I'd like to, but I think that's going to come when I set the racket aside and sip margaritas on the beach with Federer and Nadal. Yeah, and then he was asked about this, sipping margaritas on the beach with Federer and Nadal at the press conference, to which he said, I don't even know why I said margaritas. I don't even like margarita drinks. I think it just sounded good at the time, and it just came out. So, but he would like to get to the stage where he can just finish his career at some point and then sit down with them and just reminisce about the good old days. Yeah, he would have definitely deserved it, as have the other two. And Djokovic, definitely, that performance puts him right up there. I think it's up there with like a Sinner level performance. Obviously, playing against a British player is always tough as well. But Novak Djokovic improves to 35 wins and only one defeat against players competing in their home slams. 4-0 against Australians at the Australian Open. 12-0 versus Frenchmen at Roland Garros. 6-1 versus Brits at Wimbledon. We all know that one is, don't we? Sir Andy Murray, and 13-0 versus Americans at the US Open. Yep, there he is, the outlier, Sir Andy. There you are, sir, kissing that trophy. Djokovic, let him have that one, didn't he, that day? I still remember it so well. I think that one, Djokovic had a little bit of an off day, but Murray had definitely a very good day as well. And that was the perfect storm. To beat him in straight sets doesn't happen very often. Ask Carlos Alcaraz. He did it last year, but the first time it was an absolute ridiculous 5-setter. Anyway, I think that's all I've got to say about the men's for the day. Obviously, there are some other results. I'll just quickly touch on them at the end, but we've got to speak about some of the women's as well. And we were talking about how crazy it is with Holmgren going through, with Ofner going through. Well, Turkey now have a lady going through as well. The world number 88, Zeynep Sonmez, is the first player from Turkey to reach the third round singles at a Grand Slam in the Open era. And she had another emotional sort of breakdown on court after the win. She screamed at the top of her lungs. Such a big moment for her in her career. I didn't think she was going to win this match. She was against Jinyu Wang, who was in great form coming in, obviously just knocked out Mukova. But yeah, she beat her in straight sets, 7-5, 7-5. What an impressive performance from this Turkish lady. And how's she going to get on the rest of the tournament? I think that's the big question. Because if she can beat one of the most informed players on grass in Jinyu Wang, surely you'd fancy her in the next round now against Alexandrova. Tough match, but still winnable, I think. And this whole little section, really, I'm going to put it up on the screen so everyone can see who's in this little should we call it the Sonmez section? Let's call it the Sonmez section for now. So you can see here, We've got Sonmez there versus Alexandrova. And then here, Bencic versus Coccialetto. Coccialetto's doing it again as well. It's absolutely ridiculous. She bageled Volyanets in the first set today and then 6-4 in the second set. Yeah, this is a completely different. I think the Italians is getting a bit annoying now, to be fair. I mean, you've got enough good players. It feels like when one goes out, there's another one steps up. We had Paolini out. Now we got Cocciaretto doing well. Too many. We had Nardi go out. Now we got Cobolli doing well. We're losing the Brits. The Brits are going out. We got Raducanu. That's where all of our hopes are falling on her, which I don't know if that is a good thing or not. Probably not, because you don't want the British press covering you, because they're not very good as an omen. But anyway, that's the little Sonmez section. I thought somebody else who's looking damn good on the women's side, we're talking about dominant performances on the men's, Jelena Rybakina. Well, Maria Sakkari, the bad run continues at slams, and this one, no different. And somebody could be a potential champion, I think. She's sort of flying under the radar a little bit. She's knocked out Avanesian, Sakkari, and now she faces Towson in round 3. She'll be the favourite. And then if she wins that, she'll face the winner of, yes, we have got it, Danielle Collins or Iga Swiatek. And Iga Swiatek, this is a bit of it's going to be a real gauntlet for her if she's going to get through this. She dropped a set earlier on today, but came back and won in 3, and convincing 2 and 3 as well. 6-2, 6-1. And she is now into round 3. Danielle Collins match. That's a tough match. We all know her and Collins don't really see eye to eye. Collins beat her in Rome as well in straight sets, which you don't get to see happen very often. We obviously remember at the Olympics, there was that coming together as well with them, where a little bit of a clash. I don't think there's any love lost between the two. And I think Collins uses that to her advantage to try and get a little bit of anger out and just to try and hit through a few shots. But Iga, looking the best I've seen her at Wimbledon in a while. JG will be happy. He's got her as champion. But if she gets past Collins, more than likely it's going to be Jelena Rybakina waiting. And right now, her, Sabalenka, they probably look like the best two on the women's side, I'd say, from what I've seen. Navarro looks quite good as well, but when you get to the real depths of this tournament, the serve will play a factor. And you can see some of the other results today. Mira Andreeva still plying her trade. We'll have to cover her probably in the next round. And who else? Barbora Krejcikova, the reigning champ, dropped another set, but still went through. Yastremska scraped through, but still through again. And Samsonova, dominant performance, 6-2, 6-1 from her as well. Kenin went out. Not so many upsets on the women's side. The main one being Sonmez at 5s. But that's it. That's my roundup of Day 4. Essentially, we're going to be heading into Day 5. We had Ben Shelton, not sure if they should have really stopped his match. He was literally about to serve out for the match for a straight sets win in his match. And then they said, no, we're stopping it, probably due to the light. And so now he's going to have to maybe come back on court and serve one game just to get his match over. So best of luck to Ben Shelton in the next match. Tell me your thoughts about all of the matches today in that comment section below. I want to hear all of your thoughts. Which was the biggest upset for you? Which was the most emotional moment? Which bit did you love the most? For me, it was the Holmgren one. And also I like the Sonmez one as well. I love seeing emotional players on a tennis court and seeing how much it means to them. But if you haven't done so yet, smash a like, subscribe, and JG be back tomorrow, and we'll bring you another podcast.